It's been 4 years since I've uploaded a YouTube video, and this might be my last video that I ever make. We'll see. I thought I should make this video and give my own take on what this fictional children's character means to me. I've been watching Spider-Man recently, which influenced me to make this video in the first place. I know almost everything there is to know about this character, and have been watching him since I was basically born. I used to watch him just because I liked the web swinging and the fights, but it was only just until my freshman year that I realized the character means so much more to a lot more people. Watching something like Spider-Man is one of those instances where the character gets better the older you get, and the more time you're surrounded by the contents of the stories of that specific character, it just makes him better and better. So where do we even begin? How about the realness of the stories themselves? And no, before anyone asks, I'm not going to talk about the plot lines of Spider-Man 3 or The Amazing Spider-Man 2, for example, but instead, the weight that is on the shoulders of somebody like Peter Parker. And not just Peter Parker, but everybody around him as well. This isn't just a Raimi analysis video, even though they are the best Spider-Man movies, even with Spider-Man 3 included in the mix, but I digress. Rather, of every Spider-Man from every story told on the big screen. Look at characters like Harry Osborn. In almost every depiction of the character, he has to deal with the loss of his father so suddenly while he's either in or right out of high school. And if that's not a big enough thing to deal with on its own at that young of an age, take Harry from the Raimi films, for example. Imagine you find everybody's New York hero walking into your house, and by extension your father's house, with your father's dead body, and all you want to do is just rip him to shreds. Hell, the first thing you do is to pull out a gun and shoot the guy. Then imagine your best friend has the ability to tell you who this person is that killed your father and where to find him, but he just doesn't. Then imagine, whilst in the midst of all this, someone you thought was going to bring you to fame and fortune with this new high-tech invention that will change the world fails. He doesn't just fail, he very nearly ends up doing the exact opposite of what he told Peter Parker he wasn't going to do when he says,
Rosie, our new friend thinks I'm gonna blow up the city.
and on top of that, all of the funding goes down the drain that you put into that project. Not only your funding goes down the drain, but your reputation. You then realize the only way to get the man who you think killed your father is to give this psychopath controlled by these mechanical arms another chance to
Blow up the city.
and you end up doing it. Not only because he somewhat forced your hand, but because you want to find this guy that bad. Then imagine he brings you the man that killed your father, and you
See who's behind the mask.
so that you can,
Look into your eyes as you die.
and when this happens, you find out that the man responsible for your father's death, the supposed superhero of New York that can save everyone when the lights are shining on him, but when they are off, commits such an atrocity as this, is actually
Peace. No. It can't be.
Think about that for a second. Put yourself in Harry's shoes. What do you think? What can you think? What do you do? What can you do? And it remains very real when Harry knows good and well what's going to happen in New York if he doesn't tell Peter where Octavius is. And all he has to say when Peter asks where he is,
Peter, you killed my father.
and that's what makes these stories so real. Keep in mind, this is a plot point involving a side character. It just goes to show how much room there is in these stories to focus more on the human aspects of the film rather than these big action pieces. Let's talk about those action pieces for a second. Going back to when you were a kid, all you cared about were the fights with Doc Ock and Venom if you're my age. Or maybe you grew up watching The Lizard and Electro. Or maybe even Vulture and Mysterio. Whatever the case may be, you just wanted to see fights, the web swinging, the big action pieces. We didn't care about the human elements of these stories, but as we got older, we see these movies in a completely new light. It's because of the fact that we have some sense of nostalgia for these movies that makes us come back to them and love them now as we're older. More mature teenagers, adults, or maybe even parents. You as a kid remember the train fight between Spider-Man and Doc Ock, the subway fight between Sandman and Spider-Man, and you decide to give Spider-Man a watch for the first time in years because maybe you just got fired from your job or your girlfriend just broke up with you and you need some sense of nostalgia to get your mind off of it all. You get to see your action sequences, which is what you came for, but you see something you didn't see before. Something you weren't looking for as a kid. Peter Parker struggling to make it to class because of his life as Spider-Man. You get to see Peter struggle to find a happy relationship with someone who he knows likes him back because of his life as Spider-Man. You see Peter not able to keep a stable job because of his life as Spider-Man. And the only job that he does have is to slander his own reputation by selling pictures of himself to the Daily Bugle. But most importantly, you get to see Peter Parker dealing with the same problems as you are. You relate to this character in a real way. Or maybe you watch something like Amazing Spider-Man, where Andrew Garfield had a great relationship, but his girlfriend needs to move away for school. But just very soon after this, his girlfriend gets killed because of something he created, and he has to live the rest of his life knowing that. Or maybe you sit down to watch Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Tom Holland had to have everybody forget who he was in order to do the right thing to save the entire universe. Peter Parker in these films doesn't just get a free pass from bad things happening to him just because he's Spider-Man. He's a normal person just like me or you, going through the same stuff just like me and you. It's heavy. It's real. No matter how you want to look at it, any normal person given these circumstances would just give up. And these characters do for a short period of time, but they then remember what Uncle Ben, or for Tom's case, Aunt May told them.
And with great power, there must also
Comes great
responsibility.
And they get back up and do the right thing because they realize that these powers weren't theirs to just give away. They realize that these powers are a gift to others and not just a hindrance of themselves. They realize that they're the only ones that can defeat these huge supervillains that New York has to protect the people in the city they love and care about. This is why people love this character. This is why people connect with this character so much. And this is why this character is so impactful. There are times when we are all down. We're all out. Maybe you just lost a job. Maybe you lost a family member, a friend, are going through a breakup. You're too stressed in school or maybe feeling depressed, whatever it may be. You get back up and you get back on your feet. You've watched this hero, your hero, get back up on his feet after going through things that you couldn't even imagine. You've watched him do it since you were a little kid. You idolized this guy as your hero as a kid. He was everything you wanted to be. And now seeing that he goes through things just like us, tough times just like us, you yourself can be Spider-Man in a sense. There's a scene from Spider-Man 2 that encompasses this idea perfectly. And it's when Aunt May is in the backyard talking to Peter about Spider-Man, when she says,
I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble.
the best part about Spider-Man is that he wears a mask and a full bodysuit. Stan Lee did this on purpose. It made it feel as though Spider-Man could be anyone under the mask. It could have been me. It could have been you. It could have been anyone. Other superheroes aren't just regular people. Batman and Iron Man are billionaires. Superman is an alien. Thor and Wonder Woman are gods. But making the character of Peter Parker just an average high school kid, it allows us to all think that we can be Spider-Man in one way or another. It allows us to all think that we can be the ones who get back up and keep moving forward no matter what life throws at us. I heard Andrew Tate talking about God one time. He said, even if the actual being of God isn't real, if the idea of God can make a change in the world and impact someone or something in some way, then God in a sense becomes real. With Spider-Man, I feel like it's a very similar thing. Like for me, any hardship I go through in my life, I get up from and I keep moving forward because of the lessons I learned from watching Spider-Man and seeing Peter Parker get back up over and over again and keep moving forward over and over again. Whenever I really don't want to do something but I have another responsibility I have to adhere to, I think back to
To do what's right, we have to be steady and give up the thing we want the most, even our dreams.
whenever I want to get back at somebody who has wronged me, I think of
Uncle Ben meant the world to us, but he wouldn't want us living 1 second with revenge in our hearts. It's like a poison. It can take you over. Before you know it, turn us into something ugly.
whenever I have to forgive somebody for something I really don't want to, I think back to
I forgive you.
in this way, even though Spider-Man is a fictional character, he becomes real to you, real to me, and real to anybody who's been impacted by this character in the real world, whether it be through their decisions, the decisions of others, or just the way they carry themselves. Spider-Man is there in some way. Maybe Spider-Man helps motivate you to do something huge like not take your own life, or something small like helping you get through not getting the best grade on an assignment in school you studied a lot for. No matter how real he is, Spider-Man helps us get up and keep pushing forward, even if we don't want to, or think we can't. This fictional character has helped us in some way, and in that sense, he becomes real, and most importantly, impactful. Spider-Man has done something no other superhero movie has been able to do, and no other movie in general has been able to do as well to me. It makes me want to become a better brother. It makes me want to become a better friend, a better boyfriend, a better son, a better student, and over everything else, Spider-Man always reminds me that when things get rough, and damn well they get rough, you need to get up and keep pushing forward.